Hello and welcome back. In this short lecture, we're going to learn about how best we can apply the app protection policies. In this demonstration, I'm going to take Outlook as an example where we can apply some kind of settings like within the workspace. If application is trying to open up, we need to enter a passcode for that specific application, so that once it is authorized with the specific passcode, this application will be opening. And similarly, whatever the data, corporate data is available within that a specific application can't be taken out to the personal space or personal applications. For example, if we try to copy paste the data, it shouldn't come. Similarly, if we are trying to take the snapshot, which is nothing but a screenshot of your data, it should be blocking all such information. We will be trying out now. So to begin with that, I would be creating some of the Intune policies. To create that specific policies, I need to go to Microsoft Intune. Let's begin with that. Go to Microsoft Intune and go to Client Apps, click on App Protection Policies, and click on Create Policy. So we are going to create a new policy, which is, let's give as the name of this policy to something else. For in this case, I'm going to give as the Outlook. So the Outlook app Android is the name which I wanted to use in this case, and this specific application is specifically targeted for Android devices because we're going to demonstrate Android specific device. So I am going to create the settings for only Android, and I'm going to target this specific application also. So I'm going to select this with a specific application here. So the applications are listed by default applications. So whatever the company managed applications you have, you can manage them. So in my case, I'm gonna select here Outlook and click on select and click on default settings configured. This is where actually the configuration will be happening. So you have the three different conditions or three ways you can protect your corporate data in other way. So the first one would be the data protection, other one would be the access requirement, and also the conditional launch. So what we're going to do is we are going to actually configure now based on the data protection. To begin with the data protection, the first setting would be the how you're going to transfer your data. See, let's say example, since the device is could be bring your own device from the end users because it's not going to be corporate own device. In that situation, whatever the Outlook is installed on that specific machine, is that really going to be taken to the backup to the Google Cloud or somewhere else? If you want to block that specific data to be not to be sent out of the device, you can say block. And then you can also configure other sending information, like you don't want anything to be sent, or maybe what we can do it. Basically, this specific setting is for only policy managed applications, so we would select that. And then if you have any of the applications to exempt, you can go for exemption. But in our case, we don't have any exemption. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to apply settings for company managed applications. So when you get it as a managed apps, that means the company selected applications which are getting pushed from Microsoft Intune. That's what it means. Now the next setting would be the policy specific, like you want to save the copy of organization data, so you can say hello, but you want to setting any of these specific settings. For example, restrict the copy paste. This is what we are going to demonstrate. In fact, within the end of this video, you would be learning how to apply these entire setup, but I'm going to demonstrate only this specific setting. Of course, we are going to do other screen capture also. Let's have a look on it. Restrict cut copy or paste between other applications. When I say other applications here, it could be Android specific applications in this case, because this is for only Android specific. But when we say Android, it could be a company owned application, or are we talking about the personal applications? Let's say if I try to have some CDK information, and that CDK information I want to copy paste to my Gmail or maybe to my notes, will it be allowed? Is the again a legal issue, right? So you want to secure such instance. So what we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate this anyway, but you have an option here to configure how do you want to proceed the copy paste or cut options. So you want to block it everything, or you want to only allow between the policy managed applications, or policy managed applications between only paste is allowed. So if you select as a blocked, what happens is, since this policy is applying for the managed applications, definitely it's going to only apply for the managed applications. So that means you can copy paste within that same application, but not for the notepad or somewhere else. You can't paste it. So that's what we're going to try now. So next one would be the screen capture. So I'm gonna talk on this in a minute anyway, but even in fact in the mirror cast or whatever the application we are trying to screen casting to our screen or uh, our monitor, the phone screen mirroring application also gets blocked if you actually enable the specific setting. So let me enable this and demonstrate that. Later point I would come back here and configure as disable, but for now when I configure the specific screen capture or Google Assistant, it's going to block your screen recording or photo snapshot, whatever you're trying to do. For example, you want to take a screenshot of the some application opening, so that also gets completely disabled by selecting this option. And these are the encryption specific and the functionality, whether you want to sync up with the native contacts so that the contacts will be synced up. So all these kind of configurations is available here. So I'm going to be select this, okay, and I'll come back to the access requirements. So this access requirement would talk about a pin specific configuration. Let's say now you have distributed an application called Outlook, but when an Outlook application is trying to open, how best you're going to be securing that? So it shouldn't be open automatically. Maybe it should prompt for a pin. That pin, if whoever knows that pin, can only open up. Let's take one live example. If the phone was bring your own device was enrolling to our organization, and that device also we have maybe some kind of games which are played by one of the kid, and that specific employee has handed over for some time to play in a game. What happens is, if the user or if the kid is trying to do some kind of is going to if he try to play something with the Outlook, it might leads to a lot of miscommunication or a lot of data may visible, right? If you want to secure such situations, what happens is, this is a second layer of a pin. When you're trying to open up that specific application, it's going to ask for that pin. So I'm going to enter here only 4. You can also have the alphanumerical other options. You can configure whether you want a simple pin allowed or the pin, but in my case actually I'm just selecting the default values at this point of time, and I would be showing that as the pin. I'm going to set as a 1 2 3 4 pin, whatever the pin, and that would be visible for you when I'm trying to demonstrate. The next setting would be the fingerprint based. If you want to override that fingerprint, or you want to allow the fingerprint to be allowed to enter from the starting from Android 6.0 onwards, you can do that. Also the timeout for the inactivity, and the pin reset, number of days, all these configuration we did even talked about in the client apps section. There are close to 20 to 35 between different videos I did spoken. I did explain very well on all these, but this is, since this is a different section, we wanted to ensure that you have to understand how this Intune works with the proper demos. So in this section I did included the specific video. Let's have a understanding of the other configurations here. You can check out here self-explanatory, like work or school account credentials for access is required. You can configure that all. And let's go back to the conditional launch. So here it's gonna say that these are the conditions you can apply. You can apply like maximum pin attempts can be 5. Later point it's gonna reset, And similarly, office grace period, offline and grace period, I'm sorry, it's offline grace period of the 720 minutes. And you want to block the access, or for example, if the device is no more active more than 720 minutes, then it's going to be blocked. They must have to come up and then, hey, I'm online, or it must have to sync with your Microsoft Intune server. And similar grace period of the 90, which is again days wise. And these are the additional settings you can configure. If you're interested, like you don't want the device to be jailbroken devices, you don't want to allow them to access your corporate applications, because definitely that would lead to the security problems. If you want to apply some of the customized conditions for the device specific or application specific, you can very well do it out of these configurations. Once you have done all this configuration, you can actually apply to your specific group. So let me create here, and this gonna create it, and here I'm going to assign the specific to a group. In fact, actually I have done the similar configuration with another application, with the Outlook application, same application, but just the name is different into an app protection policies only, but the application name is in this case just the Outlook Android instead of the app, and I've assigned to Chris and David demonstration for these two groups I've added. And you can check out the application which I've done quickly. The same settings, there is no further settings, so I'm just gonna reuse this because this was created as part of other demonstration, and we will be using the same configuration. So this is how of the settings we wanted. Let's assign this. In fact, it's assigned for this is the one which is already assigned even here, and this is the we just created, but we're going to use the previously created one for app protection policies section 1, which we have created. Now we have the how to create a section. Now the next section would be the, or in the same video I'm going to try to explain to you from the scratch, like how to enroll the device and post to the enrollment, how the application open up to enter your pin, and then try to copy paste, since we have, if you can remember, as I said, we did actually configure the specific setting as the here the not to allow the screenshot screen requirement, so it has been disabled, so it's gonna show you as a blank screen, and then we are going to enable this, and that all the entire so the entire demonstration is pending, and we will be looking into it in a minute or so. Okay, let's try to do a demo. This time, this is the Android device for work. It's a completely plain device. It's not even enrolled. So we're gonna do a few of the things. The one would be the enrollment of the device process. During the enrollment, the Outlook or other applications installation. So we're gonna look at how the application deployment also it's happening on that specific Android device, as well as the client app protection policy, how we configured for the screen lock, as well as the copy paste options. So these are the 3 to 4 different settings we are going to validate within this demonstration. So let's begin with that. So if you can see here, it's a very plain one. So let me go back to the Google Play Store and download Intune company portal application, and this is a plain application which is coming from Play Store as an app format. This is an agent for Intune in other way, and you can install that. Once the installation is completed, when you open up, it's gonna ask for the sign-in details, where we need to enter as the input for the application, which are from Microsoft Intune user account. So let's once we open here, it's asking for sign up, so signing in, and it's gonna ask me to enter the user details. So in this case, this specific Android device belongs to Chris, so I'm entering Chris user ID, Chris at omnio.com, in fact, and the password. So the password would be grayed out for you, but I'm entering in the background the password. And then once I entered this password here, this is where I'm entering the password. So it might take a minute or so for the entering the password, because I did enter wrong. Now entering correctly. Once I input the password correctly, it should actually take up further. Yep, so it's signing up, and now it's gonna ask me three different settings in a minute or so. So the first one would be the creating work profile, followed by active work profile. And so I need to accept all these. So in fact, all these terms and conditions and what can be accessed by the company, what not by end users, all that information I did talked about in the enrollment section. If not, if you have not checked it, please check on that. And you can accept the continue, and this is where actually it is setting up the work profile. Post to this, it will come back to the Intune agent, which is nothing but a company portal. Now again we need to re-sign in, so this time it's gonna not gonna ask you for the password, but it simply signs in. And once the sign-in process is completed, remaining two steps would be validated whether this device can be enrolled or not, or other options can be done. So let's wait for that. Company portal, yes, sign in. So it's, as I said, it's just exited. Now signing in. Once the signing in process completes, it's going to actually, it's nothing but it's just connecting to the Microsoft Intune portal, and it's gonna validate the remaining two settings. So you can see here the settings for active work profile, it's gonna done. Now it's gonna activate that specific work profile which we just created, and it's gonna workplace join. It's gonna join into Intune, and it's gonna register the specific device in the company portal. All this information I'm gonna show you in a minute or so into the Intune portal, whether this device is enrolled or not. But let's give a minute or so that we don't miss out any screen here. Finishing up its the work profile relevant settings. This might take a minute because we can't, I don't want to skip all these screens, so you may have to wait for a minute to witness how the enrollment process works. So it's almost finished. Now it's going to ask me for entering the category. So these are the categories information which we entered, which we have done in the Intune portal for the categories. In fact, we did talked about it. Now everything is done. Updated the device settings also. Just click on done. Now this is what the Microsoft Intune portal, if you want to check for the complaints, you can check that. So that would actually pull up all the latest policies from the Intune server. And if I just go back to the other screen, which is the third screen, you have three different applications which are almost locked face, which is nothing but a complete data is secured, where you can't interact basically with that applications with your personal application. So it's the both are completely two different environments. That's why it's showing as the locked out state. Now you can open up if you want the Play Store, and I'm going to show you the Outlook which is going to install in a minute or so. Before that, let me also show you the box and other applications, how this box application we offered as the available state. Let me put it aside and show you in the devices, for the all devices, whether these devices available or not. It might take some time because if you see here Android devices is 0, this device is not yet completely sent information back. That's why it's still showing as the device is not evaluated, it's not done. But in the client side it has done everything. It might take a minute or so to update it, so it might take normally at least a 5 minutes time. We need to give up, otherwise it's not going to work, or it's not going to show you in the Intune portal. That's the ideal time what I prefer to give for any of the device to properly populated post to the sync up process. So if I just go back to the other settings within this Intune for this specific device, all the policies are compliant but not everything. So let me go back here into the device. You can check out here in the App Store, the Android specific web view was not up to date, so let me update that. And here if you see here Microsoft Outlook is getting installed. If you just go back to the installed applications, that means the Outlook policy has arrived, which we pushed out from the client apps. So let me navigate that and show you in the client apps. If I just search for the Microsoft Outlook or Outlook, and it should actually show the results. Even the Microsoft Outlook will show you, as well as if I type as Outlook also it will show you. So either way, you can just select that one of that specific one, so which is in this case it's assigned even. So this is the application which we deployed from the Google Android for Work specific, like by taking the Play Store app URL. Let me maximize this and show you. What I've done is I have pasted this URL. If I just go back to the Play Store and search for that specific application, I would get this URL. So this specific section, how to assign, how to distribute it, all these have been already talked into the client application section. If you want, you can check out that for the more information. This icon, everything was coming up automatically because of that. And if you see here, this application is assigned as a required for Chris and David devices altogether, and it is a required state that must be noted, because that's why on the client machine, when I say client, I'm sorry, that's the mobile device. So on that mobile device, it's actually installing automatically because of the required, whereas the box is the application. It's not the case. Let me search for the box for you, and it's just the available as a box application. That means users can go, if they really think that it's needed, they would install. So here also I pasted the box specific application. Let me paste that and show you. Simply go back to that Play Store or search for the box. You would be ending up with this application URL. That's what I pasted, and you can check out in the applications section for more information. You can check out here. It's just available for all the enrolled devices. That's how I targeted. And this is another group. This time I have not targeted for based on the Chris or David devices group. Instead, I did actually target it for Android for box application in this case. So 100-box target. So that's the group. So I can show you that also. On that specific group, there would be only one user, which is Chris, should be there. So I'm just going back to the groups, and I can search for that specific group name. And if I go to the members, it should be showing only the Chris as the user account. So that's why it's actually showing me as the available, and it's still taking an installation time, and in fact it has just installed. This might take a minute or so on your machine, because it's almost 171 MB. It all depends on the data and the replication, and this information also to be up to date or updated into the Microsoft Intune portal also. So that means it has to send this information to the Microsoft Intune portal as a status. Once it's done, we can open up the specific application. It should show me a popping up with the app protection policies, specific settings. For example, it should ask me to enter the username. Post to that, a PIN is a mandatory. That's what we configured in the initially within the policy settings. So that should actually show up in a minute or so when we actually open that specific application. Let's open up that and getting started. This is where I need to enter my user ID. When I say my, the end user's user ID, in this case it would be chris@omnio.com, which is a specific user which we are trying out. And it said that, hey, do you want to add any other accounts? No, that's it, because it's just added. And now this is where it's very interesting that if you can see here, your organization protects the data in this app, so you need to enter the PIN. So once we enter the PIN, actually it's going to be you can set the PIN, and once we enter the PIN, actually it may go to the it will actually go to the blank screen. Let me enter the confirm PIN also, because we configured a policy to block any of the screenshot. That's what exactly. So the app protection policy is working in this case. The reason is we blocked taking the screenshots and recording of the screen within the mobile devices. This option we configure from the app protection policies. Let me navigate to app protection policies by opening my Explorer or Chrome. Go to the client tabs, then app protection policies. If you remember, the policy which we created would be Android for Outlook. So that's a specific application. Maybe I can check out. And here under device protections, we did configure the screen specific settings. you can see here a screen configure and Google Assistant has been. So that's a description. If you're going to read out that, it says that, hey, if you're trying to take a screenshot or some application is going to record the screen activities, it will come as a blank. That's what it means. So since I'm using a third-party application to mirror my screen, I did configure here as the protection was enabled. So I'm just disabling and saving that specific policy. And if I just update my device to sync up, then by closing my Outlook, and if I reopen, it should open up with the visibility. So I just closed all that previously open one and opening the Outlook, and as usual it's asking for the pin, which I set as 1234 in this case. Once I open up that, I'm able to see now the app. So the app is completely visible because we configure whatever the setting was taken out to unblock the screenshot or recording options. So that's why we are able to see now. Now, as a next step, let's test the cut and paste or copy paste options. So let me open one of the email and think that this is the very critical information, like a CD key information for one of the CD keys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that and paste into the personal notes, which is not the Microsoft, not the organization data, or you can take as the personal notes, not from the company data application. So this is the personal application, not the notes is the personal application, not the company application. So let's paste it. So it says that, hey, your organization data cannot be pasted here. But what happens is, if you want to paste that data within your Outlook, you can do that. Oops, I pressed the wrong one as a link. I'm sorry, just let paste that. Yeah, so the paste is working fine here. This is how it works.